Welcome to Cozy Snug, where timeless charm meets cozy elegance. In today's video, we're diving into 15 classical vintage interior decor ideas that blend the warmth of American cottage style with the nostalgic, heartwarming essence of Grandmacore. Expect soft neutrals, vintage treasures, and cozy textures that evoke memories of simpler times. Whether you're a senior seeking a nostalgic retreat or a vintage lover craving timeless beauty, these ideas will inspire you to transform your home into a snug haven. From heirloom-inspired accents to delicate lace details, each concept is crafted to spark warmth and comfort. Stay tuned, hit that like button, and let's create your dream cottage retreat together. Imagine a cozy living room where a curated gallery wall of heirloom quilts becomes the heart of your space. Each quilt, with its faded floral patterns and soft pastel hues, tells a story of generations past. Hung in mismatched vintage frames or draped over rustic wooden rods, they add texture and warmth. The soft neutrals, creamy whites, muted pinks, and pale blues blend seamlessly with American cottage charm, while the tactile quality of hand-stitched fabric invites touch. Pair with a vintage rocking chair and a woven basket of yarn for that Grandmacore nostalgia. This setup feels like a warm hug from Grandma's house, evoking memories of cozy evenings. Add a soft throw and a ceramic teapot on a nearby table to complete the serene, timeless vibe. Transform your dining area with a vintage china display that screams Grandmacore elegance. Picture a weathered wooden hutch showcasing delicate porcelain plates in soft ivory, blush, and sage green. Each piece, perhaps chipped or faded, carries the charm of yesteryears. Arrange them with care, mixing floral patterns and gold-rimmed teacups for a curated yet effortless look. The soft neutrals harmonize with the cottage aesthetic, while brass candlesticks and a lace table runner enhance the nostalgic feel. This setup feels intimate, like Sunday dinners at Grandma's, with a warm, inviting glow. Add a bouquet of dried lavender in a vintage jug to tie it together, creating a space that feels both lived in and cherished. Create a dreamy reading nook with lace-curtained windows that filter soft light into your cottage retreat. Use sheer, cream-colored lace with delicate floral patterns to evoke Grandmacore's vintage charm. Pair with a plush armchair upholstered in muted taupe or dusty rose, draped with a knitted throw. A small wooden side table holds a stack of old novels and a porcelain teacup, adding to the nostalgic vibe. The space feels serene, like a quiet moment stolen from a bygone era, perfect for seniors craving comfort. Add a braided rug in soft neutrals to ground the area, making it a cozy haven for reflection and relaxation that whispers timeless elegance. Bring Grandmacore to life with a floral wallpaper accent wall in your bedroom. Choose a vintage-inspired design with soft roses or peonies in muted pinks, creams, and greens. The delicate pattern pairs beautifully with a wrought iron bed frame draped in crisp white linens and a patchwork quilt. This setup feels like stepping into a cherished memory, warm and inviting. Add a vintage vanity with a chipped mirror and a porcelain wash basin for authenticity. The soft neutrals keep the space airy, while the floral motif adds nostalgic charm. A small vase of fresh daisies ties it to the American Cottage aesthetic, creating a serene, heartwarming retreat that seniors and vintage lovers will adore. Elevate your dining table with an antique doily table runner, a quintessential Grandmacore touch. Hand-crocheted doilies in creamy whites or soft beiges are laid end-to-end, creating a delicate, textured runner. Pair with a rustic wooden table and mismatched vintage chairs upholstered in faded florals. The look is soft, nostalgic, and effortlessly cottage-like, evoking memories of family gatherings. Add a centerpiece of vintage glassware and dried wildflowers for subtle charm. The tactile quality of the doilies and the muted color palette create a warm, lived-in feel, perfect for seniors seeking comfort. This setup invites conversation and connection, making every meal feel like a cherished tradition. Incorporate vintage suitcases as charming storage in your living room. Stack 2 or 3 weathered leather suitcases in muted browns or soft greens, their worn patina adding Grandmacore character. Use them as a side table or storage for blankets and magazines. Top with a lace doily and a vintage lamp with a fringed shade for extra nostalgia. The soft neutrals of the suitcases blend with the cottage aesthetic, creating a cozy, timeless vibe. This setup feels like a treasure from a bygone era, perfect for vintage lovers. Add a small potted fern to soften the look, making it a functional yet heartwarming focal point. Transform your bedroom with embroidered linen bedding that exudes Grandmacore's nostalgic charm. Choose crisp white or soft ivory linens with delicate hand-stitched floral motifs in pale pinks or blues. Pair with a quilted bedspread in muted tones and a pile of vintage-inspired pillows. The tactile softness and subtle colors create a serene, cottage-like retreat. Add a wooden bedside table with a chipped paint finish and a small vase of dried lavender. This setup feels like slipping into a cherished memory, offering seniors a comforting, timeless escape. The embroidered details add a personal, heirloom-like touch, making the space feel warm and deeply inviting. Adorn your walls with rustic wooden picture frames showcasing black and white family photos or vintage botanical prints. Choose frames with weathered finishes in soft grays or creams to complement the Grandmacore aesthetic. Arrange them in a cozy, asymmetrical cluster above a fireplace or sofa. The neutral tones and natural wood textures blend seamlessly with American Cottage style, creating a warm, nostalgic atmosphere. Add a knitted throw and a vintage rocking chair nearby to enhance the lived-in feel. This setup evokes memories of family stories, perfect for seniors seeking emotional connection. The tactile frames and soft colors make the space feel like a cherished, timeless retreat. Light up your dining room with a DIY vintage teacup chandelier, a whimsical Grandmacore centerpiece. Suspend mismatched porcelain teacups in soft pastels from a wrought iron frame, each holding a small candle or fairy light. The soft glow illuminates the room, casting delicate shadows that enhance the cottage charm. Pair with a wooden table draped in a lace runner and surrounded by vintage chairs. This setup feels magical, like a scene from a nostalgic tea party, perfect for vintage lovers. The neutral tones and delicate textures create a warm, inviting ambience, making every gathering feel special and timeless for seniors and beyond. Reupholster an armchair with patchwork fabric featuring soft neutrals and vintage floral patterns for a Grandmacore-inspired living room. The mix of creamy whites, muted pinks, and sage greens adds texture and charm. Place it beside a wooden coffee table with a lace doily and a stack of old books. The chair's cozy, nostalgic feel invites relaxation, evoking memories of Grandma's house. Add a knitted throw and a small embroidered cushion for extra warmth. This setup blends American Cottage simplicity with Grandmacore's heartwarming details, creating a timeless, comforting space that seniors will love for its familiarity and vintage lovers will adore for its charm. Adorn your walls with vintage wicker baskets in soft beige or weathered gray, arranged in a playful pattern. These baskets, with their woven textures, add Grandmacore's tactile charm to your cottage retreat. Hang them above a wooden bench draped with a quilted throw in muted tones. The neutral palette and natural materials create a warm, rustic vibe, perfect for seniors seeking nostalgia. Add a small vase of dried wildflowers on the bench to tie in the vintage aesthetic. This setup feels like a nod to simpler times, blending American Cottage warmth with Grandmacore's cozy, lived-in charm, inviting admiration and comfort. Make a vintage clock the focal point of your living room, evoking Grandmacore's timeless charm. Choose a large, weathered clock with Roman numerals in soft cream or faded gold. Place it above a fireplace or on a rustic wooden shelf, surrounded by vintage books and a small potted plant. The neutral tones and aged patina blend with the cottage aesthetic, creating a cozy, nostalgic feel. This setup feels like a step back in time, perfect for seniors craving familiarity. Add a knitted blanket nearby to enhance the warmth, making the space a heartwarming retreat that vintage lovers will find irresistible. Drape a collection of hand-knitted throws in soft neutrals over a sofa or armchair to capture Grandmacore's cozy essence. Choose throws in creamy whites, muted grays, and pale blues, each with unique stitch patterns for texture. Pair with a wooden coffee table holding a vintage tray and a porcelain teapot. The tactile softness and neutral tones create a warm, cottage-like atmosphere, evoking memories of Grandma's handmade gifts. This setup feels inviting and timeless, perfect for seniors seeking comfort. Add a small embroidered pillow to complete the look, making the space a nostalgic haven for vintage lovers. Create a stunning gallery of vintage mirrors with ornate, weathered frames in soft golds, creams, or silvers. Arrange them asymmetrically on a living room or hallway wall to reflect light and add Grandmacore charm. The neutral tones and aged finishes blend with the American Cottage aesthetic, creating a bright, nostalgic space. Pair with a wooden console table topped with a lace doily and a small vase of dried roses. This setup feels elegant yet lived in, perfect for seniors craving timeless beauty. The mirror's reflective quality adds depth, making the space feel cozy and inviting for vintage enthusiasts. Incorporate dried flower arrangements in vintage vases for a Grandmacore-inspired touch. Use soft-hued flowers like lavender, baby's breath, and roses in muted pinks and creams, displayed in chipped ceramic or glass vases. Place them on a wooden sideboard or dining table, paired with a lace table runner. The delicate textures and neutral tones create a warm, cottage-like feel, evoking memories of Grandma's garden. This setup is timeless and comforting, perfect for seniors and vintage lovers. Add a few vintage books or a small candle to enhance the nostalgic charm, making the space feel like a cherished memory.